Hello everyone and welcome back to Professor M's Art and Science Lab. Today we're going to be talking about blood. Yep, the life-giving source of our entire bodies. So today we're going to learn about what blood is and what it's made of, and we're going to make a model of our blood. So let's learn a little bit more about our blood. So our blood, we need it to keep us alive. Okay, it brings oxygen and nutrients to our cells, our organs. And then what it does, it takes away waste to the organs that will eliminate them, like our digestive system and our lungs, our kidneys, and how we eliminate waste from those parts of our bodies. Okay, blood also fights infection. It has certain hormones that are also transferred in the blood to the rest of our body. So the blood is made up of four main components. We have the plasma, which is a yellowish fluid that it holds everything, holds proteins, hormones, and waste products in it, helps deliver the oxygen, whatnot, with the blood cells inside our blood. So, and it's normally yellow. So today we're going to use some vegetable oil to be our plasma. Now I've poured it already into a jar because we're going to make our model in a mason jar today. And that's another version of our kitchen chemistry, because we're finding all the products that basically in our kitchen that we need for this particular activity. Okay, so we have the plasma, we've already discussed that. The next thing that we have to talk about is the red blood cells. Okay, now the red blood cells are shaped kind of like little discs with an indent. Okay, I'm not going to make them exactly that because I had a hard time finding something that looked like that. So we're going to use these little nibs instead as to represent our red blood cells. Okay, now the red blood cells usually are flattened. Okay, these are sort of flattened. They're not as rounded as I would like, but again, we can improvise. Okay, so the red blood cells carry hemoglobin, which are the proteins that carries the oxygen to our bodies, and it is usually bright red in color. Okay, when it's oxygenated. Okay, now we also have for white blood cells. Now the white blood cells are what normally kills the germs in our bodies as part of our immune system. Okay, and we're going to use Tic Tac to represent those. They're a little bit smaller than the red blood cells, and we want to color them white just so we can distinguish them in our blood model. Okay, so we're going to use those. Now a little bit more about the white blood cells is that it carries antibodies, and it makes antibodies against certain illnesses that we might have had. So say we had an illness that requires us to have an immune to it, so maybe like chickenpox. So our blood will have that immunity in it, and it was a white blood cell to help us fight it. Now usually when you know you're fighting an infection, you get a fever, because at the high temperature it's trying to kill the invasion of whatever bug is in our bodies. So usually that is one thing that we have that will tell us we're fighting for something. Okay. Now, another part, or the last part that we're going to discuss today of our blood model and our blood components is the platelets. And we're going to use rice, just plain old white rice. Okay, we're going to use that to represent our platelets. Okay, now what the platelets do is they usually normally oval in shape, kind of like a grain of rice, and excuse me, and they help blood vessels break. When blood vessels break, okay, and platelets is gathered together around that blood vessel to seal off the leak. So what it does is it protects the blood cell from harm or any other injury it might have. So it sort of surrounds it, kind of like a jacket or a blanket wrapping its way around this red blood cell or white blood cell. Okay, so let's make something. And also, and one more thing, the platelets also are the things that help us our blood clot, like when we cut ourselves and it's bleeding. It's the platelets that help the blood clot so that we don't bleed out, basically. Okay, so let's start. So we have, again, our jar with our plasma, aka my vegetable oil. Then we're going to add some red blood cells or our nibs to that. Okay, so put some in there. Okay. See? Now we're going to shake it up afterwards, and you're going to see how looks. Right now it's just everything sinking down to the bottom, which is fine because the density and it's also heavier than the oil, so it's going to sink. Okay. Now let's add some Tic Tacs, which are our white blood cells, into the mix. That, you can see them floating. Again, they're going to float down to the bottom. Okay. Now we're going to add some platelets because that's our last component and we must have it. So I'm just going to pour some rice into the oil mixture. Okay. And it's floating around out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the lid on it. Okay, and we're going to shake it up a bit and we're going to see how the components of the blood all sort of float around in the plasma. You can see them, you can see the platelets floating and the red and white blood cells. So when you think about it, the plasma is kind of like the delivery system of the blood cells, the white, the red, and the platelets to our body parts and our cells, okay? Kind of a neat idea. Have some fun with it, play with it. If you want to make an edible version of this, super fun. Get some apple juice or even some like light syrup that you would have in fruit cups. You can still use the nibs because they're tasty. The Tic Tacs are tasty. Even the rice is tasty, but you can also add other things. The idea is to be creative. Think of what else you could do. Think of what else you can make that you can eat. So again, kitchen science is all about creating things within the kitchen, but it's also, you're able to eat it. So that's a lot of fun too. So boys and girls, what I want you to go and do now is I want you to do some more research on the blood because there is so much to know and so much to learn about it. I've only given you a glimpse of what it is. But I want you to go do some research and I want you to learn by doing and reading and studying. And like so many other things, that's the best way of learning things is by doing and experiencing it. So I want you to go and do that. Have some fun and don't forget to drop me a line, a little comment on the video. Let me know what you think of the activity and I'd really love to see some of your experiments and see how much yours turned out. And that's one. And this is the end of our lesson for today, guys. Now, don't forget to like and to subscribe to our video channel. And I will see you next time. Take care.